Mike Bohn of MMA Junkie here at the Viacom headquarters with Bellator 208 headliner Chael Sonnen. He fights Fedor Emelianenko Saturday night. Chael, you had a stare down with Fedor not long ago. It wasn't the first one, but any takeaways from that, or is this all just business at this point?
Yeah, it's never business for me, man. This is always personal. I hear guys that say that. I don't know if they're lying or if they just suck at this sport, but I'm a competitor, and this is personal. People say it shouldn't be. Well, it is personal. We're going to get half naked, and we're going to fight for no other reason than to find out who the tougher guy is. So my only takeaway from staring Fedor down is, he's a little shorter than most heavyweights, and I didn't realize that till the first time. I mean, I saw it again today, but no, I didn't gain anything from this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the first fight with Rampage, he had, 40 pounds on you or something like that. This one will probably be a lot closer, right, in terms of maybe the physical comparisons?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I expect him to weigh in somewhere right underneath 240. And I will try to weigh in the low 220s, which I think is pretty close.
Yeah. How do you prepare for this one in terms of, is it the same as every other, or does this one have a little extra zest on it because it's Fedor?
Yeah, well, I mean, I train for it as I do all the others, but that's not up to me. I have great coaches and trainers. I trust them. If they want to change the schedule or the plan, that's up to them. I show up, I do what's asked of me, I shower up, and I leave.
And this has been a long time coming. I mean, you've been talking about Fedor for years at this point. When it all comes to a head, I mean, how do you feel about him at this stage of the game? I know, maybe before you said certain things, but a few days away, what's the personal feelings towards him?
Yeah, we just matched up. I wanted Randy to have this fight. This was Randy's fight to have. And when I did think about Fedor and talk about Fedor, it wasn't for myself. I was helping Randy Couture get ready for him, and I thought that match was going to happen. So, I can't really recall all of those things, but I think he's a good competitor, and I want to go out there and beat him. I'm looking forward to grabbing a hold of him. I'm looking forward to feeling it. I would be devastated if it was like a 15-second fight and he knocks me out, or I want to grab him. I want to feel him. I want some minutes with him. I want to experience what this is and what all the hype's about.
So 2 takeaways there. What did Randy say to you when you ultimately got this fight? I mean, is he going to be there watching? Is he encouraged? Does he feel maybe a missed opportunity for him?
Oh no, he wasn't selfish at all. I mean, he retired a while ago, but I mean, he and I have talked about Fedor a number of times. It was just always in the aspect that he was going to compete with him, and so these years went by and the organizations have changed, and here we are in Bellator, and he laid out the game plan. He told me what to do, told me what he thought I should do. It wasn't the same as what he would do for himself, but with my skills, he told me what he thought I should do, and that's the plan. I'm sticking with it.
So help me understand something. We just heard you inside during your scrum straight up say you think his fights in Pride in Japan were fixed, but you also call him the greatest heavyweight of all time. But his best wins, his most notable wins, were from Pride. So how does that make sense? Yeah,
so I'll clarify it. Pride was fixed, and that's not to say that his fights were. I don't know who's. I mean, Pride was so long ago. I can't believe people are still talking about it. I have a hard time remembering it. But Pride had fixed fights, and that's the way it goes. If you fix one fight, your whole organization is ruined. And I think it's one of the reasons that they're off TV and they're out of business, and they're not doing it anymore. If Fedor had fixed fights, I mean, I have to go back and look. I don't remember thinking Fedor was in fixed fights. I don't remember thinking a number of those guys were in fixed fights. But they fixed fights, that period.
And you go in there and you're face-to-face with Fedor. How does you see this thing unfold?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they say go, I'm going to come across that ring and get in a fight. I am looking forward to it. I don't know if I've ever looked forward to a fight before. I look forward to opportunities and matches and strategizing and planning and training, but the actual competitions, I am looking forward to grabbing a hold of him and seeing what happens. I want to see what this power is all about and this explosiveness is all about. I've been impressed by him, watching him through my television set, but I want to be able to tell you firsthand.
And to switch gears a little bit, we spoke last week during the Conor Khabib fight week after the press conference, and you said being here, it gives you, a bit of motivation, add motivation going into this fight. To see how that unfolded and what happened afterwards with the brawl and everything, what was the thought on that? I mean, obviously you were still there, you were excited to be on that big fight week, but did it maybe leave a bad taste in your mouth about the sport?
No, it didn't. I mean, that was a very disappointing moment, but I do think to keep it in context, and I would never justify that. That was a terrible thing that happened. I was in the building. It was even, I would go as far as to say it was a scary thing. I didn't know how far that was going to escalate to. I would just remind you, if we're being fair here, that I think one of the reasons this stands out and one of the reasons this is so prominent is we don't really see this in mixed martial arts. You could count them on a couple of fingers how many times over the course dating back to 1993 something like this has happened. It's far more prevalent in football, baseball, basketball, hockey. It's not overly prevalent there, but it is far more prevalent. And for some reason, because this is a combat sport, people have chosen to really exemplify it and put it under a microscope. I think it was a bad moment. I think those guys are going to be punished severely, at least Khabib. I don't know about Conor. I don't take any pleasure in that, but I mean, I think that's the reality. So for anybody that wants to be a naysayer on this, just wait your time and you're going to get your way. But as far as sports and having bad actions and bad moments, for us, they're rare.
Is it at all justifiable? I mean, you think back to you and Anderson Silva, there was a lot of personal things said there. When the fight was over, it was over. He didn't try to attack you after the bell. He didn't do anything like that. So, where does that line draw with Khabib? I mean, it's when it's over, it's over, right?
Oh, yeah. No, this was very bad. And the people that try to take that stance, they need to go look in the mirror. If you can't be an objective person about somebody else's happenstances, then you can't be objective about yourself, and your life probably isn't going very well. For somebody to say that Conor attacked a bus or that Conor said something about Khabib which justified Khabib jumping the fence and attacking Dylan Dennis, who was not at the incident at the Barclays Center, who did not get on the private jet, break into the arena, and do a crime, is ridiculous. The two don't go together. The payoff for the punishment for Conor's bad behavior was he got locked in there with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib said as much, and Daniel Cormier, his teammate, said as much. Conor's punishment should be get in here and fight. So when the fight's over, why he went after Dylan. He may have a reason for going after Dylan. We're going to have to hear him out. I'm not the judge on this thing. I'm just sharing with you to that specific argument that because Conor said things about Khabib gets to jump a fence and attack Dylan Dennis, man, that's a stretch.
Yeah. And final kind of talking point I want to discuss, Friday night we have the other semifinal for this fight, Matt Mitrione, Ryan Bader. I know you said you wish you could be there. Obviously you have more important things to tend to in your own career, but how do you see that fight unfolding?
Yeah, those guys are going to have to go figure that out on their own. I do think it's a pretty straight-up fight that if Mitrione can connect with him, he can put him down. And if Bader can get a hold of him and drag him to the mat, I think Mitrione's going to have a hard time getting back up. And I think it's a pretty straightforward fight. That's what those guys have said. That's how they have advertised it. But I don't think that's promotion. I agree with them. I think it's pretty straight.
Do you have a desired result there? I talked to Matt earlier. He thinks you guys could sell a fight very well. He said he's going to cyberbull you if you guys end up fighting. Obviously, Bader, a champion right now. So what do you feel like is the better fight there?
Yeah, I don't sell fights. I'm looking for the easiest fights I can get for the biggest paycheck. So I really don't care about any of that kind of stuff. I'm just in this for the competition of it. But I will tell you, regardless of this tournament, that I would like to win, but I am the number one contender in the light heavyweight division. So when this tournament is done, Bader and I are going to meet up either way. I don't know that we have to do it in here. So I don't know if I would give my preference, but as far as Ryan Bader's and I's future go, we're fighting.
Well, it all goes down this weekend. Bellator 207, Bellator 208, headlined by Chael Sonnen, Fedor Emelianenko. Tune in.